Another episode. Let's go. Another episode. Let's go.
I'm trying to remember what was the actual topic. Yes, I know. I know. No, while we were having a pause while filming, and the thing was that
was it a dramatic pause or was it just a pause?
No. It was a completely. I had a complete blackout at a given second because I was thinking about one thing, then look a squirrel, and then came another thing, and then I was talking about the ways that you can actually process and get the data across to another person, and then I remembered what I was trying to talk about. So
the way in which you explained how randomized function in C works just now is beautiful.
So without any seeds, let's start with me trying to explain why I would completely block any kind of anonymous access to the internet across the entirety of the world.
Okay.
Because you was in the last episode, you accused me that I was
accused.
No. That I was pretty liberal in the way I think, and I think that I am, but at the same time, I believe that people should be accountable. So
no. What he is he's trying to be idealist.
Oh, okay. Unlike
and with that, roll the intro and let's go.
Any other ideology that exists in the world. Okay, let's roll the intro and let's talk about this.
Yeah.
So,
okay, Mr. Lefty Idealist, go.
No, this is not lefty. This is. I think this one would be a complete righty. This one would be even so left. Okay, you can consider this idea as being so lefty that it becomes righty, and that's the circle. What I actually think is that the internet shouldn't be at all anonymous.
Okay.
I think that there should be a way of verifying everybody's identity, and at the same time, everybody should be guaranteed complete immunity from what they're doing on the internet, as long as you can actually connect their identities to what they're doing, and as long as they're following the laws. So the same thing that actually is happening in the real world. If you are walking, everybody knows who you are, how you look like.
Nobody knows who you are.
No, everybody knows who you are because they can actually remember you. They know who you are. One can find out who you are. So as long as you're obeying the laws, and the laws are not that difficult to obey, you can actually do whatever you want. If we say that this can be applicable to the internet, so everybody knows who you actually are, then we can have a normal talk and we can have normal discussions. You know, you have been in the forums like this, you know that they exist and that they work. Why is it possible to have a normal communication when everybody knows who everybody else is? And then as soon as somebody is anonymous, the communication simply descends into hell, complete hell.
No, that's really easy to understand why that happened. Because the rug of responsibility has been removed from conversations, because people want to be able to say random crap whenever they feel like that. And that's one of the side effects of using internet too much.
But this hasn't stopped me from doing it in the real world. Everyone knows.
I'm not.
I'm saying you're saying random things. But as soon as,
agreed.
As long as I'm following the laws and not breaking them, and as I said, this is pretty easy to do because laws are not that difficult to follow.
No, they're not.
So you can get away with almost everything, and why should the internet be completely different? Why anonymity on the internet does not make any sense. It just makes the whole thing and the whole place completely
more toxic.
Completely toxic, and also it enables a lot of things like spam. For example, I would pay for the. I would be the one who would introduce the payment for the all the messages sent, all the emails sent. There was a long time ago, 20 years ago.
Okay.
There was an idea that you should be paying for every message that you send. It should be prepaid. So when you're sending your email messages, in order to get them signed by your provider, There should be authorized by you, and you should be paying a small amount of money for each of the messages.
Like SMS.
No, even less. They were proposing that people should be paying 1 cent per message.
Okay.
Because this means that a regular person who is actually sending something like 100 messages per day, which is not a normal person. A normal person sends something like 10 messages per day, probably. If it would cost them $3 per month to send all the messages. But if you are trying to send millions of messages, suddenly you cannot afford it. So this would probably stop spam. Also, this would also enable the providers to be able to keep track of the messages, when they're coming from and where they're going to. So this would create...
They would have to be signed by a credit card or something like that.
They could be signed, and also they could be tracked. So this would guarantee the service. So suddenly email could become a guaranteed service so that it makes sense for the companies.
Call me surprised that it's not because I call you a lefty, half jokingly, half reality-based, but I'm very surprised that you have such opinions.
No, it's not that. But the thing is,
I'm not refuting them. Just saying.
No. But it's not about being a lefty. It's understanding how people work.
Yeah.
All the ideologies, for starters, if you want to design an ideology, whatever ideology there is, you are usually making the rules. Then you are making people stick to them. So you have some consequences for disobeying the rules. This is the same in all the different ideologies. Being a lefty just means being using an ideology that is supposed to be left, whatever is left, or
especially nowadays.
And then being a righty means the opposite thing. But you need to obey your ideology. So when you are not, you can also be a nihilist. You can also be anarchist. You can use different things. So you're disobeying all the authorities and everything else. But you are also sticking to the ideology of it. So every ideology has its own rules. Even if the rule is to have no rules, you are obeying the rule of not being obeying rules. And this is a simple thing that this is not me talking. This is something that people have talked about in the last 200 years or so. Organized society functions like that. And I think that one of the things that we should be introducing is complete lack of anonymity on the internet.
Your background for that is because you want to foster absolute responsibility for the shit that you do.
Yes.
Okay. I agree with that part wholeheartedly.
Yes, because I think that what would happen is that
my approach to that would be general. Everybody should stick to, bearing the responsibility for their own actions, period. No difference where it is.
But the thing is that if I know what you have said in public, for example, in the internet, this creates one slice of the character that I perceived who you are. And I don't think that this should be separated from what you're doing when you know that I am able to track you.
I have a question.
Yes.
What happens if a person saying something on the internet was drunk or high when he or she did that?
As the same thing as happens when somebody is drunk or high.
Okay.
There should be a way to for people to actually say I was drunk, whatever, I wasn't myself. Because we all know that people
here we come to the problem, because being drunk when you do something in real life doesn't absolve you from the responsibility.
Yes, I know. It wouldn't absolve you from the responsibility on the internet.
Okay, go on.
But if you know that you are in an environment that is intended to be like this, so if you are drunk in a club, right now this is considered normal.
By most people, yes.
I'm not saying that this is going to be considered normal in 10 years or 20 years, because
20
years ago, smoking in a closed club would be normal. Smoking in a coffee bar would be normal. Now it's not normal. Smoking in a restaurant 20 years ago was completely normal. Now it's completely off the limits.
Or if you go even further, in the past 40, 50, 60 years ago, it was more than normal.
Smoking in a school was normal.
Big Cubans, whatever. Yeah, okay.
No, so the thing is that the morals are going to change, but you should be able to talk and say what you want.
Smack.
Also,
Yeah.
you should be able to delete the messages that are spoken by you, and they should be automatically deleted after a given amount of time.
Just like punishments in real life for law.
Yes.
Like traffic violations
Yes.
and whatnot, and
They
rehabilitation
should,
laws.
they should just expire.
Basically, what you're saying is that you would instantiate what we jokingly refer to as Mike Tyson rules. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He said famously that most people are just talking smack on the internet because they're not afraid of getting punched in the face.
It's one of those things, and because the usually, but when people are thinking about this and talking about this, they say, okay, if you give the people the opportunity to delete what they said, they're going to delete everything. Yes, but when I see that somebody doesn't
That gives
have
you an
any
insight.
history, this also gives me some information about him.
Yeah, it gives you huge insight into a person's state of mind and the way in which they operate, which is they want to avoid responsibility and be absolved of responsibility.
So I cannot find when we are dealing with idealistic ideas, I cannot find the wrong thing with all of this. Of course, we come to a point when the problem is who is going to abuse the data that they get. And this is when it becomes interesting, because I don't think that anybody should be anonymous, even including the companies.
Okay?
So there should be a responsible person for abusing the data.
Like GDPR,
Like GDPR does.
DPO and whatnot.
The thing is that the people don't understand that DPO can be in a big trouble if you
Correct.
if you do things right. So being a DPO right now means that you can get a slap on the wrist. The company is going to pay for the infraction on the GDPR, but DPO is going to just be the person who is going to be. They're going to say, okay, he was just following orders, basically. And I think that the result should be the same as with the different people who are following orders. So I think that they should be held accountable for whatever the company is doing.
Can I offer a semi-differing opinion?
Okay? Now,
So it's not a dissenting opinion. It is. I'm mostly with you. I just have one beef with everything that you just said. And it's so typical of me to have a different opinion than you have, based on the same principle that we discuss in private over and over and over again. I like everything you said, and I support everything you said, except for the part in which this would be mandatory in a way in which you say that it would. I want people to want to do them themselves. Otherwise, this is going to fail. There's a reason. Wait for a minute. You know what was the era in which we were raised.
yes.
In that era, talking smack meant you're going to get smacked by either somebody close to you, friend, whatever, or at home if you embarrass the family or whatever, you're going to get slapped by a family member, whichever that was. We were much more disciplined than today, therefore we didn't require such length and such freedom to talk smack at all. But we were also faced regularly with the consequences of that, so it's a part of our algorithm, which also meant that over the years, we developed a semi-type of, let's say, discipline, not to overdo it because for overdoing its sake, but for when it's necessary. If you start with the concept of internet as it is today, and try to apply that way of thinking as it was 20, 30, 40 years ago when we were, adolescents and teenagers and whatnot, that would not work. Society is just different today. So I would still want people to comply to that because it's good for the health of the society, but we've gone completely in the opposite direction in the past 30, 40 years, which is to overstate the importance of the individual and individual rights and whatever, not talking about the consequences of that said individual, of course. And that makes your idealism practically impossible, although I approve of it and like it very much.
But the thing is that I think that you are partially wrong. You are in a sense right in your idea of people should be doing them to themselves and they should be able to understand that this is the way forward. But at the same time, no, they are not going to do it.
What did you do this summer when you got to the island of your choosing?
Yes.
When you parked the car and smacked another car. What was the first thing that you did?
I left my details to the other driver.
That's what I'm talking
At two
about.
places.
Yes. And how did that end up?
I didn't pay for anything.
And how more did it happen? Explain.
I got a free beer.
He got a free beer from a person whose car he smacked.
But the thing was that this is the way that the things should be working.
Correct.
Because if they know who I am, if I know who I am, if they know that I know that they know, everything is going to work.
My point is that you volunteered that information.
Yes, but the first question that I got from a colleague of mine was, "Why did you do this?
Yeah, because
Can they trace you?"
yes.
And I said no.
But there were probably cameras around, but that's beside the point.
No, there were cameras around, but it's not the thing about it's not the idea that I could get away with it. I didn't want to get away with it.
Of course not.
Because the society also gives me another thing. The society gives me something called an insurance. So the insurance is what helps me in this way. I'm paying for my insurance in order to, when I'm being reckless, and it was being reckless because I was driving, basically now when we're saying it out loud, I usually drive a smart car. Smart car is something like 2.5 meters long. And the car that I'm driving when I'm on the long stretches or going to vacation is a Mazda 6 Caravan. This is something like 5.5 meters. So
there's a difference.
So the thing is that I took a turn that was much too. It was basically a sharp turn that I shouldn't have made, and I just scratched the car that was parked. But the thing was that it was my fault. I am taking responsibility for that, what I did. I have insurance for this.
Yes.
So I'm not going to get punished. Punishment is just some paperwork.
The insurance is going to make sure that you pay for that in different ways, but yes.
No, actually not. Because on the insurance I have a clause that I'm paying for that is called the insurance safety clause. So even if I make a mistake once, I keep my insurance premium.
Okay, because the insurance premiums and the waivers and the percentage of how much insurance off you get are correctly directly dependent on the amount of traffic accidents and crap that you do.
And since I didn't do any in the last 20 years, so I have a premium something like
50% at least.
I would like say something like 7.
I'm not sure that's by law, but okay.
Yes.
I think 50 is the most, I think.
Yes,
but yeah, whatever.
Yes, but the thing is that the insurance is there to cover it.
Yes.
So the only thing that I need to do is to be actually honest and say, okay, I did it. Let's do the paperwork and then deal with it.
Let me be self-aware for a second. Here I am preaching about it, and last time when I went to Germany, I had a situation at one of the gas stations in Austria, right after the Slovenian-Austrian border. We stopped there. It was raining like crazy, cats and dogs rain. You couldn't see outside, and when I opened the door, right next to me there was a something like W transporter, so big van. They also had those plastic strips on the side, so that thing that was about to happen doesn't happen with the amount of damage that you can do. And I opened the door. I didn't really put a lot of force into it. It was very, very, very slow. And I touched the door of that van, and people were actually inside. They opened it. They were like, "What the hell? Why did you break our car? Whatnot?" I didn't manage the situation well, for which I'm actually sorry nowadays. And my partner told me, "Why didn't you give them 100 euros?" And that's that. That's called being rational. But my brain could not comprehend that I was being so stupid. That's the reason why that happened. So being self-aware of the fact that I messed it up. I would have liked to have done things differently, more in line with what you were doing, but I just wasn't. So, yeah, it's a built-in hypocrisy into everybody.
No, it's not that thing. That what I want to point out are the things that you actually said. You had people around you. People were behaving differently than you were expecting. Your partner was telling you something. The people in the van told you something. You were.
Of course, I apologized.
No. But the thing is that everybody has its own frame of mind in the particular moment. So what I would do in this particular thing, in the particular case, 20 years ago, okay, it would probably be the same. But the way I would react with an example like what you described could be completely different from what I did when I made a mistake. I know that I tend to react differently depending on my train of thoughts in that particular
State of mind.
state of mind. Yes, because what I usually do and what is happening when I'm tired, my reference is smaller. I know that I'm not capable of doing executive decisions in my brain, so I know when to stop. I know that I don't need to stop driving because I'm tired. Sometimes I need to stop driving because I'm tired of making decisions.
Let me just throw one more thing out there. I wasn't tired, so no excuses there. But also they kind of pointed to a gash that they had on their car, which was blue in color, and we both know that my car is not blue in any shape or form.
No, but this is the circumstances under which this is happening. But as I said, on the internet, the same rules would apply. Even I think it would be even easier to do this because the forums that people are usually being brave by being anonymous are in usually have more than hundreds or thousands of people. So you're not lacking the witnesses to what you're doing. And this is one of the self-correcting things that could happen and that would help the enormity of the thing.
Thank you very much for that word. That's exactly the word that is in the background of my thoughts previously when I was discussing the fact that people should basically self-correct themselves.
But the only thing that you can do is self-correct yourself. Nobody can make you.
Nobody does that anymore. We are, older generation is the only.
They're doing it.
No,
they're doing it, but the thing is that they are doing it less and less, and they're doing it only in the most extreme circumstances.
And that's also fair and wrong.
When they're extremely afraid of something. And this is in part why. I was watching a TV show a couple of days ago. It wasn't the entire show. It was just one scene of the show because I remember that I watched it years ago. And the thing is that they were using some extremely graphic and extremely I'm trying to find words because I don't want to describe what was happening in order to avoid the content.
Just make it down again.
No. But the thing was that they were using extreme examples of human behavior and the ways that it can be dealt with.
Okay.
And the idea was that if you do something extreme, you will get extreme consequences for it.
Okay.
And the thing is that when you need to make a show about it, and when this is something that is satisfying because people are not seeing it enough, is a problem.
Okay.
Because people should be always in a frame of mind that if they do something that is so obviously wrong, I'm not going to say what, but one of the capital crimes, there shouldn't be a show about how wrong this is. We should be established on that we shouldn't be doing this. But we have a problem as a humanity that we still haven't decided who won the Second World War. Not a lot. We have a huge gash when it comes to knowledge, and this is annoying me to no end. And I don't want to discuss it too much on this podcast because we are not that kind of podcast. But the thing is that when you lose the universal sense of what humanity is about and the value of human life and everything else, suddenly you don't have the humanity anymore. You just have a disconnected community that is behaving like basically, I would say slime, but
You're full of metaphors today. That's good.
No, the thing is that when we have established that human life has no meaning, and when we have established that human life has no... No, but when we establish that it has no meaning and it has a price, then everything is up for grabs.
Okay.
And we shouldn't be doing this in any way or form. And one of the ways that we can stop this on the internet, because the internet is like this, is to make everybody that is not anonymous actually capable of using services, unlike those people who want to remain anonymous. Because you can use whatever you want. There are a couple of ways to be anonymous on the internet. I know this, you know this, and so on. But I think that we should be just gating the communities more.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So hear me out. There is a little bit of an intro to this. But the question is actually rather simple. I'm not sure how much you are aware of this, but maybe you are, because you read everything about everything. So actually last year, I think, there was a huge hoopla online, a lot of articles, and I read quite a few, and I read some papers actually published in some of the legal journals after the fact about Singapore's way of handling justice. Okay? There were many right and left-wing comments about this on YouTube, which I paid almost zero attention to. And I noticed that people are basically polar opposites in terms of what they think about that, which is normal. But the net result of their super strict legal system, which is very harsh in many different directions, is, generally speaking, when you look at what happens in the general public, there is no simple stuff like jaywalking, chewing gums, littering. All of those things are non-existent. I've been to Singapore. It's much cleaner than every other place that I've been to. That's just simple stuff. Now, going to more complex stuff. Most of the people in Singapore don't lock their apartments or their shops at all because it's not necessary. Crime rate is 1 crime per day or some stupid number like that if it happens. And they deal with this basically with a sledgehammer, which, again, we can have different opinions about that, not getting into this. Do you think that a stricter legal system, based on what we have today, would be enough? Or are you still for, shut down anonymity? I'm not saying that we should, get rid of people who are swearing online. I'm not saying anything of the sort. But you understand what I'm getting at.
Yes, but I don't think that okay. First, I think this is logical fallacy. I think this is the changing of the subject.
It's not.
Because the anonymity and the harshness of the legal system, they have no direct connection.
Yes, they do.
No, I don't think they have a direct connection.
They do.
Because what is going to happen in the real world, for example, here in Croatia, there is a specific thing that you cannot do, and this is going to get you caught in almost 100% of the cases.
Okay.
If you hit and run.
Okay.
You know that the amount of hit and runs that happen here in Croatia is negligible to what happens in the different countries. And also, you know that they have an enormously successful rate of catching those people.
Okay.
There are a couple of reasons for this, but one of the reasons is because the people who are part of the community usually help police immensely when it comes to catching those people.
Of course.
And would any changes in the legal framework influence the hit and run?
Not really. There are other things that we could do, but not in that specific use case. But you're missing my point.
No, I think that we shouldn't be dealing with the legal framework or the amount of punishment. We should be dealing with how to sociologically make people understand that
modify human behavior.
Yes.
Okay, I get it.
So I don't.
But when you don't succeed with this, which you are not, what is remaining out there?
No, but we are slowly moving towards the capital punishment. Okay.
No, that's not even a discussion.
No, but
I'm talking about situations in which people, say shit about other people, which is not true, which brings them harm. How to cope with those situations? And various degrees of that, because God knows both you and I have seen that in the past 10 years happen on repeat.
It should be done the same way that it is done right now in the academic community.
That's an extremely lousy example, but I understand what you want to say.
But the majority of the academic community, when it comes to and I'm talking about academic community, I'm not talking about the scamming parts.
Of course.
I'm talking about actual academics. You can see that there is an amount of appreciation, there is an amount of understanding, and there is also an amount of criticism that is allowed that is not only allowed but even
Encouraged.
encouraged in order to make the discussion as quick as possible and as frank as possible. Also, there is another example: the legal framework for the airplane accidents.
Which accident?
Airplane accidents.
Airplane accident.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because in order to get the pilots to be completely and utterly frank about what happened, about the truth, this is probably the only accident that you can be involved with and be completely dissociated from any direct consequences when you are giving your
Statement.
statement,
The position, whatever.
the statement of the facts to the authorities. And
Do you understand the level at which you are cherry picking right now, but in a good way?
Yes.
And I want to add something else to it. I love your cherry picking because you selected two excellent examples of why what I said is so important. The reason being that those two things, like science, which invents things that people use, and airplanes, driving people around being the statistically safest means of transport in the world, if they do not do it that way, then people are going to get killed.
Okay.
In different ways. So there's a threat of basically ultimate consequences if they do not do things properly, which do not exist in real life for everything. Okay? To extend that just by one sentence, the fact that everything, there are so many things between zero and that level that you cannot regulate like that unless people want to do it.
Okay, but let's
drink water.
Let's drink water, and then let's, for a second.
I mean, we could agree on treating everything as a matter of it needs to be absolute honesty. I would love to live in that world. But it would be a horrendous experience for most people.
Okay, can we try to draw some similarities between driving and using the internet?
Between driving and using the internet, we could.
Okay, so in most, if not all, the countries in the world, you need to have some sort of ID when you're driving the car.
Absolutely true.
You need to pass some sort of driving exam.
Yes.
The reason is basically to stop the majority of the problems with hurting other people.
Correct.
So why should internet be anonymous?
I'm not saying that it should.
No, but why should internet be anonymous?
It shouldn't. I'm not saying that it should. But I'm saying that, unfortunately, the only real way in which that's going to happen is by implementing some modifications to the legal system. I'm mentioning Singapore as the opposite end of strict, as a far-out example of how these things work and bring good to the overall society. I'm not saying that this is the only way or this is my way. You know, sometimes in discussions you can use the polar opposites to kind of like go overboard explaining of what we are discussing. That's what I was trying to say. I'm not saying that I'm all for it or all against it. I'm with you on most of the things, apart from the human part of the responsibility, which needs to come from the person themselves. Otherwise, it's going to fail. And when it fails, you're going to have some kind of a backup. And backup for that is the only one that we know is a legal system. I'm not saying that enthusiastically or ecstatically. I'm actually saddened by that. Because let's use the two of us as an example again, which is just being a little bit crazy, but never mind. When we work out that one of us is not doing something properly, we say that out loud. No problem.
But this is the same on every normal community there is.
But there are no normal communities anymore.
Yes, there are.
Rarely so.
Yes, but
on the internet.
On the internet, there are normal communities, but the thing is that they are extremely gated. For the same reason that we are talking about here.
Yeah.
Because
of the loudness of the noise of everybody else.
Yes.
Okay. We're getting somewhere.
Since I'm that old that I was using the BBSs way back then in the days.
Me too.
There is a BBS work group on the Facebook. It is unlisted, hidden, and it is invitation only.
Excellent.
There is
the way it should be. Yeah.
There is a reason for this, because you cannot say that you were on the BBSs if you weren't. And if people knew you on the BBSs, it's something like probably 100 people in the entire Croatia.
Okay.
So if they knew you, you're going to get invited. So the thing is that this is one of the communities where things can be said that otherwise wouldn't be able to be said, because everybody knows who everybody else is. So the anonymity or lack of anonymity works there. And I think that this should be done in every possible way. Okay, there is in some ways it's impossible to do this, but I think that using mandatory identification for some parts of the internet should be a thing.
Agreed. Actually, there is a cool or funny example, again, in the opposite direction to what you were saying. You remember what that Flat Earthers Facebook group, what happened a couple of years ago?
You mean the one that got infiltrated
Yes.
by the
And taken over?
By the people all around the globe, yes.
No, just one of them.
No, yes, I know. But the thing is that this is going to happen, and this is this is happening.
Yes.
And there are papers that were done on this, including there is an interesting one. We're going to link it because it is open access. That says that anonymity on the internet is a problem because people are treating it like a on-off thing.
Yeah.
And there is a macro and micro anonymity on the internet, and there is a whole study done on what it means to be anonymous, what it means to be private. So is it the same thing if you are completely untraceable on the internet, or if you are anonymous on the internet? So is it enough if you are completely aware that whatever you're doing under whatever name is you're using is going to be traceable to you in the 100% of the cases? So are you going to be doing things differently if you know this, or if you're using your real name?
Okay.
So if I tell you, you can do whatever you want, but whatever is being done is going to be traced back to you, if the need be. Are you going to be the same person? Are you going to communicate in the same way as the person who knows that they cannot be traced?
No, but largely just like you, I don't need to be warned of that.
Yes. I also have this thing
called morals. Yes.
It's not only this. It's that I'm using the same handle for the last 30 years.
Yeah, you're easy to spot.
And I'm easy to spot. Not only am I easy to spot, I make it that I'm easy to spot because I want to be able to be reached.
It's not only that. You're just like me. You're a completely uninteresting person to follow for nefarious reasons. That's it.
I might be interesting to follow, but not for nefarious reasons. But
yeah, that's exactly what I said.
On the other hand, I don't understand why people are following me at all.
Of course, that's the correct answer. Basically, what you're saying. So, if I can just stipulate your methodology that you're describing in our conversation. You take a thing like this, you put it in your computer.
Yes.
Before getting to the internet, you punch in your username and the password with a certificate that's on, whatever technology it is, doesn't really matter. And then and only then you are allowed internet access.
Yes.
Okay. How would that work on a worldwide scale?
It wouldn't.
Okay.
But eventually it is going to have to work.
So basically your postmodernist utopian lifestyle of implementing or suggesting this solution is aware that this solution is probably not doable, at least at the state of the technology which is right now.
No, it is doable right now. But the thing is that we are going to be waiting for this technology to be improved by simply incentivizing people to use it.
Okay.
So the thing that I'm thinking about is right now there are a lot of countries, United States included, that are extremely lacking when it comes to security of the banking system.
Okay.
They are allowing the know your client clause. They are not using it. They are allowing usage of the usernames and passwords without any tokens, and so on and so on and so on. This is going to change in the next couple of years.
Well, I would argue that largely it's already changed, but yes.
But still, as long as they're using the pins without and the CVVs without any other authorization, this is not enough.
Agreed.
So this is going to change, and this is going to change for a simple reason. What the people who are dealing with authorization systems want to do is they want to be able to talk to people for completely different reasons, for simply business reasons. You want banking to function, you want to be able to talk to the state or to the whatever authority there is. You want to be able to use your business online. You don't want to have to be present in person to whatever you are trying to get. So this is going to get solved.
You think?
Yes.
While we are still alive? Or?
Yes.
You're very optimistic.
It has been solved here in Croatia. It is not implemented, but it has been solved.
How?
The system that is e-građani, the system that is identifying you in front of all the different...
Yeah, but that's a system that can be used for this, but it's not being used for this.
No, it is solved. No, the problem is solved.
Okay. Technology exists, the system exists, everybody needs to link into that.
Yes. We should just be putting the every forum and every place where people are talking to each other behind the firewall of the
AI, of our system. Do you know, actually, let's reverse this. Let's look at it from the legal framework perspective. Do you know how easy this would be to implement from a legal perspective?
Yes.
Single clause in single law.
You know how easy it is to implement when it comes to programming? Even simpler, probably.
Okay.
So why are not people doing it?
Lazy?
No.
Just kidding.
No, I think that the main reason is that people are afraid that they're going to lose something. And I don't think that there is anything to be lost on the internet nowadays.
Except your identity, your money, funds.
No.
Faking identities. And
when I say you're not being anonymous, I don't mean that people around you are going to know who you actually are. It's not your first name, last name, and so on. It's just that you are not a blank person who is just connected.
You would anonymize that. That's what you're saying.
You can anonymize that. You can use handles. Why not? The thing is that you need to be traceable.
I mean, anonymizing a person by using, let's say, ID number of the passport and the driver's license and whatnot, creating some kind of an ID that's being used for all these services seems like a very reasonable proposition.
Because probably GDPR wouldn't even enable you to create a service that is used by people that all have their own names on the service.
Okay.
Not because the service itself is going to be against the GDPR, but because it can be misused in such a way that I can connect and get all the data about all the other users. So I need to anonymize the data the same that we do in a university. You cannot post the identifying data anywhere when it's public. So the GDPR would prohibit you from using actual people's first name and last name and everything else to the...
Unless they want to add that themselves.
Yes. So I'm not talking about anonymity as...
Okay, I get it now.
I want to say you need to identify yourself to the internet.
Yeah, you need to be reversed.
I was looking for a word. So the traceability of you should be implemented.
Yeah, okay, that's much better.
Because this is going to solve a lot of problems with the internet.
I agree. I agree with that back from the 90s. I mean, it's nothing new for me that I agree with that. But still, I think that the system itself would never get implemented, or that it would outright fail because, too many dissenting opinions of everybody. And wrong habits that have been fostered for decades. And the worst part of that is not punishing various types of different frauds on the internet.
The same could have been said for all the other systems, and then during the COVID era we had a completely functioning governance system that was functioning online.
Yes, and the education system.
And everything was working.
Yes.
Okay, the education system, you could argue that there were some problems with the implementation because the online...
Not for you and me.
No, but you could argue on that part.
Yes.
All the different things that are immensely annoying, that now require you to go back to the waiting in lines in queues that are going to be 2 hours of your life.
They are being recreated. Yes.
They were working flawlessly for 2 years. So I don't think that we need to go back.
To the old way, you mean?
Yes, and
we need to stay online.
Yes,
Right.
and we implemented the traceability and the identifiability of all the peoples because we had to for different reasons. So during the COVID era, we were stepping in the right direction, but they stopped.
I like the way in which your brain works at times. Yeah.
I don't think that's a compliment, but then okay.
No, it is this time actually, because by a large portion of what you're saying, I hope you understand that I agree with you. It's just that the implementation of that is much more messy than people would like to think.
But people are messy.
Yes, that's the reality of it. That's
Messy mistakes, that's okay.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that we should be moving in the right direction. We should probably understand that we shouldn't be. We should stop allowing ourselves to go back. The COVID era is something that we should get the best parts out of it and use them.
Okay.
I don't think that blocking the entire economy down for a year or it was 2 years is the right way to do.
Okay.
But when we saw that we are able to, for example, streamline the entirety of the bureaucracy that is the state, we should have embraced that and stopped the idiocy from coming back. If I need to take a paper A from a person A to a person B, because person A wants to tell something to the person B, they're both working in the state, in the different parts of the state ministries, and then I, as a user of that ministry's services, need to take a paper from one person to another person across the town, simply to show this paper. And the systems are connected.
Which is against the law?
No, it's not against the law, because what they did is they carved out a little bit of the exceptions for themselves.
Of course, just like GDPR.
Because they say that they cannot get the paper because they don't have your own signature on it. So they cannot sign you off from one system to another
As
system.
if we cannot use certificates for that.
Yes, but they don't have your certificate. So they found a way of avoiding GDPR and avoiding the law itself, because they say that you need to be able to see the paper. And since they don't have your certificate, they cannot ask for the paper themselves. But this is another thing that we can talk about.
Different episode.
This is a completely different episode. The way that laws are being misused when it comes to internet, when they are good or bad for a particular part of the ministry, state, or a company, whatever.
At times when we do these episodes, I realize more and more, and there are many times that this happened already, how much you are Will McAvoy of today's world.
Oh, I'm going to take... Yes, I know who he is, but...
No, let me expand on this for a second. Expand. I'm not a good repeater of those words, because who said it is way too good for me. There was, you know the line, but I'm just going to say that for the audience. Basically, in one of the scenes of a show that I'm mentioning, the newsroom, by the way, he, as a host that's been attacked online on the forums of the specific TV station that he is working on as an anchor, he goes ballistic because there are many anonymous commenters, exactly the topic that we are discussing today, and says something to the effect of that they should introduce a registration policy on the website to remove the safety of anonymity for the commentators, but which he also post-faces with the comment that they should input stuff like their level of education and many other things, which I think is a step too far, but whatever. Basically, everything that you just said is in agreement with that specific scene from the show, which I largely agree with, by the way. Again, saying that out loud, I completely agree with you, because anonymity in general has brought more problems than it has provided solutions. It has heavily toxicized our environments. It has split the society into multiple subcultures more than ever before. Hence the reason why everybody is as divided as it is. It fragmented the social networks as well, because for whatever amount of effort that you and I put into providing normal comments for everything that we do, that doesn't really matter if it's on a forum or anything else, There will always be people who shit on you because they feel like they can do it, etc. And people need to understand that they should wield that power for the greater good. And the invention that you mentioned, it's not an invention, but your traceability would go a large way towards making sure that all of this, if not all of this, but the vast majority of it is corrected, which I think this society needs, because the amount of crap on the internet, we were just discussing how messed up the social networks are right now. I mean, I cannot open LinkedIn anymore. It just makes me want to hurl after I do that, because every single person there that's not on my list of friends, which get interjected into my wall by LinkedIn, like inserted into, every single one of those tells his or her own very sad story or success story, whatever. That's not what the network exists for. That's completely other thing. If you want to post crap like that, LinkedIn is not the place for that. And actually, lately, although it pains me to say this, Facebook seems more tidy than LinkedIn on that part. It's less toxic.
No, Facebook is better.
It's just, I cannot believe I'm saying this, because a couple of years ago, if I said that, somebody would whack me over the top of the head.
Okay, I think this is the Microsoft effect.
You think?
Yes, I think this is the Microsoft effect, because the reason why there are no viruses on Linux and there are viruses on Windows is not that viruses on Linux cannot exist. It's just because a lot of people are using the Windows. It's the same with LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. When people started using LinkedIn instead of Facebook, all the toxicity just basically flowed over. Yeah. And I think that this is the same thing, and even the toxicity can be even worse for a simple reason. When it comes to the whole point of why the Facebook exists and why the LinkedIn exists, the goal and the vision and the mission of the LinkedIn is much more clear.
Yes.
And then people know how to be much more annoying with a particularly clear effect. Mm-hmm. On Facebook, you can basically make up whatever you want, so people are dispersed. When it comes to LinkedIn, they are particularly annoying in a particular thing when it comes to business.
Yes. And that network exists basically for networking, for business connections, for applying or finding new jobs and whatnot. And a couple of days ago, a friend of mine who used to work for one of my favorite brands but got furloughed, after taking a month off to kind of like get to normal state after all of the stuff that happened, she posted a LinkedIn article stating that she's looking for a new job. She listed her qualifications, what she used to do and whatnot. It was a very tidy, nicely written post on the social network where that post should be posted. I'm open for work. I have these qualifications. If you know something, please refer me to. Some simple stuff, which I actually gladly reposted the second I saw it. But that post is going to get completely obliterated in terms of the sheer amount of BS posts by others on the wall and in algorithms and by AI and whatever. And it's not going to reach the necessary people. And that leaves, again, another point that I was trying to make earlier, that it brings the negative consequences of the capabilities of these stupid posts and comments, and because everybody needs to comment on everything on LinkedIn and Facebook, but a lot of people do that. Especially, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a pattern there. There are certain patterns that you notice. People that are, 20 to 27, 8 years old tend to comment everything, and sometimes even a little bit over 30. Okay. Because that's where our wish to change the world is most active at everything. After we've done with our education, start working, get a little bit of, let's say, stability in life. This is when we start looking for what the hell we're going to change about everybody else's life, not our own.
Okay.
It's annoying as hell to look at that every single day on LinkedIn, which primarily for me is something that I use for its intended purpose, which is business contacts, exchanging business information, announcing business things. For example, we had a conference a couple of weeks ago, which both you and I worked on. I posted that there's going to be a live stream of that event, which is business event related to security, super important topic, which is heavily covered on LinkedIn, stuff like that. But I don't do fluff. on internet.
But
on
I think
LinkedIn.
that what you are dealing with right now and the anonymity, because this is the interesting notion. Nobody is anonymous on LinkedIn because everybody is extremely proud of what they're saying there.
Yes,
and
okay,
they
opposite.
and they are talking absolute
Nonsense.
crap. But the thing is that I think this is the same thing that became of the CVs.
Yes, absolutely true.
When you way back in the time when the CV was intended to just give you an opportunity to say, okay, who you are, so that the person can call you in for a meeting and then talk to you, because you wouldn't want to interview, I don't know, a postman for a place of, I don't know, an accountant. This made sense. Now, automated CV creation, automated CV application, whatever, means that a friend of mine was asking for he was looking for a PHP programmer. He got something like 1,400 applicants. There is no way for him to actually find a normal person inside this. And this is the same thing has happened to the LinkedIn.
Yes.
Everybody is basically making up as they go along to make them feel, they make them look better. And the biggest...
Yet again, we don't.
No, but this is the thing that I was trying to say. And usually this is the people who actually are not worth it. Because when I'll take a look at for example, the NVIDIA's boss, Jensen, his LinkedIn profile. Did you see this?
Yes.
This is the thing. If you are a professional in your field, people know about you. What you need to do is you need to more or less just make some kind of pointers to remember where you were working at, and to remember as you get older what you were doing actually. Because when I'm right now being 30 years in this field, sometimes I actually forget where I had the problem that I'm talking about. But the only thing that I need is a reference. I'm not treating my CV as something that is going to introduce myself. I don't need no introduction. I am making my CV current, usually just for the purpose of different tenders. When was the last time you actually went to your CV and said, I needed to get the job, so I need to write my CV and to make it current?
Last week, but that's beside the point. But so I don't do that all,
but you didn't
often.
You didn't need it to get a job.
No,
as
it
your
was
primary
actually.
job.
No, it was actually for a job.
No, but it was your primary job.
No, it was for a primary job.
Oh, so you're hunting for jobs.
They are hunting me. I'm not hunting.
Okay.
I'm being hunted.
No, but that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Because the one thing, I'm specifically talking about when you're creating a CV, when you want to find a job, but the job is not asking for you.
Yeah.
When I tell tenders, I mean jobs. Tenders are jobs.
Yeah, of course. Projects.
When somebody is asking you to do send your CV in for a certain project, it's completely fine. But it's not the same when you as if you are jobless right now, or you are looking for a specific job to change the job, and then you are creating a CV in order to stand out of the crowd.
Yeah.
Because it is going to be completely different.
Yes. And thank you, job hoppers, for making that more complicated.
I know for since we shifted from anonymity to in some way to job hopping, I know at least one person who runs a very successful company in the United States who says that because of job hopping, he is thinking about leaving the United States after 20 years.
There we go.
Because he says that the job hopping idea is making him lose his patience into trying to educate younger people
for the job.
Because the job itself is extremely complicated, and he is going to lose 2 to 3 years of training to make the person he's saying capable of doing the job. He's not saying the person is going to be perfect, but capable of doing a job. And then after 4 to 5 years, he can expect that the person is going to be able to actually perform. And he said that everybody's losing their patience after 2 or 3 years because they want to join another job, because they want just to be this is going to be a CV mention, then they're going to go switch to job in the company.
When I'm talking about job hopping, I'm talking much more frequent. But yes, you're in the right
But
direction. Because the level of the amount of time to reach the level of professionalism required for a job, and job hopping as a term, of course, is related. I understand.
Yeah, but the job hopping right now, as the younger generation perceive it, means that everything over 3 years in the same company is wrong. So they
There are
say
people
that,
who think 6 months is too long. A lot of them.
okay, there are people who think that they shouldn't be asked to come into the company
To work.
To work.
Yeah, I know.
Because I'm all for working from home. But also, if somebody tells you that you need to work for 8 hours a day and you have a problem with this usually means that you have a problem.
And that you are a problem.
Yes.
Or a large part of the problem.
But then again, this is completely besides the point. Let's finish this thing up. So traceability, not anonymity, but traceability. So being able to see who is who on the internet is going to improve the internet in so many ways.
Thank you, Will McAvoy.
Yes. So, thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit
Laid back.
laid back and relaxed today.
Me too.
The reason being, I don't know why.
You slept well.
No, I think that there's two things. I slept well, and the other thing was that the next week, I'm not having.
Scale down.
I'm scaling down my lectures because
No. Your operations.
No. I'm scaling out. I'm scaling out now.
Scaling out non-work activities.
Yes. So the next week is hopefully going to be much slower than this week. So it's going
not.
to. No, it's just going to give me time to finish the things that I'm late at.
Some things you're, I don't know, a year late with. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So thank you for being with us, and bye.
See you next time. Bye.